Let's move on and bring on board Sanjiv Bhasin, Director at IIFL Securities, joining in with us as well. Very good morning, Sanjiv. Thank you so much for joining in with us. I want to talk about a couple of names, and we do have brokerage notes that are actually coming on Avenue Supermart today. CLSA initiating a buy, target price of 5,100. Obviously, what we've seen in the last couple of quarters is that retail has not been doing well. Avenue Supermart was not one of those outperformers. But now, do you think the retail story is overall changing? What is your view on Avenue Supermart or a trend? What do you think?
Yeah, good morning. So, Vinny, I think what we are playing now is the rural incomes pick up. And if you see, Avenue Supermart has got more in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and that is a very, very big positive. We have a buy on this stock closer to that 37, 38 when it was just languishing. But we continue to be overweight on Geo retail, and Trent is something we have booked profit out on. So, we think that the valuation comfort both for Geo retail and Avenue can be very, very strong in the coming months or quarters. Simply put, if two-wheeler and tractor sales are picking up, then rural incomes are bound to see good in the consumer staple and side. In that, I think that the supermart is a very good way of benefiting from that on volume front, on growth through more branch, outlets. And I think Avenue, after a long time of languishing, is now set to be a better outperformer in the near term. We also have a buy on some of the consumer staple stocks like Bata, Patanjali, and Godrej Consumer, which we think can be outperformers.
Okay, Sanjeev, hi, morning. It's interesting that now the JSW MG Motor joint venture is talking about recreating a Maruti moment. They're looking at selling around 1 million electric vehicles by the year 2030. What's the view on this really shaking up the already fairly crowded auto space? How are you looking at new trends with EV, new launches, etc.?
Yeah, good morning, Avan. So, firstly, Maruti has been my top pick and is the one of the top stocks with the Mahindra in our portfolio. And yesterday it hit all-time highs. I think 12,000 is not a number now. We are looking at 13 and a half coming on Maruti. Given the way it has shaped up and its hybrid is doing extremely well, you are aware in India all three will exist. That is ICE, EVs, and the hybrid model. I think Maruti, MG, and Toyota are now opting more for the hybrid model simply because EVs, the battery is going to be a huge cost, once in every 5 years. But we think that this auto market is really being taken on a supercharger, given that rural incomes are picking up, and now with the Fed also talking of 3 rate cuts, lower bond yields, lower inflation, I think autos are going to find fancy for some more time. We think Maruti and as a dark horse, Ashok Leyland is one of our top picks, which has forayed very, very strong into their bus market in the EV side.
Right. Sanjiv, we do have some obviously news flow that came in terms of PB Fintech Policy Bazaar that they got a nod for the payment aggregator subsidiary, and that's going to be PB Pay Private Limited. Payment aggregator business. What are your thoughts on PB Fintech? Is there something you are specifically looking at in this stock or any other company in this new age tech then?
Yeah, so Vinny, we've had a buy also on this stock. We've discussed it many times on your show from that 700 level, and it has been a relative outperformer. Insurance is in a very sweet spot, and the way PB Fintech has converted its business model, it has seemed to be a winner for a long time. But the stock has been on a supercharger. It has hit all-time highs. Take a contrarian view on Paytm also now. Like once the dust settles, the app is doing extremely well. They are talking of new business which is roaring above the 5 lakh rupee mark, but previously they had been little bit subject to discontinuing their below 50,000 5 lakh rupee business, which they are now coming back with. They've got the approval for being a third party payment gateway, which is again a positive. I think all the negatives are priced in there. But we think that PB Fintech is definitely an outperformer, but buy on lower levels. And Paytm could be a dark horse. We own that stock. It has been a low perform, a relatively weak performer. But we think that here there is enough room of comfort now, at least on the price and the earnings going forward will dictate the trend.
Okay. You know, there's an interesting strategy as well that's come out from HSBC India on the mid and the small caps. They said that yes, there has been a correction in the mid and the small caps, which has triggered concern to the possibility of a deeper correction. But they believe that while they prefer large caps, there are a lot of opportunities for mid caps. In sell-off as well, and they've highlighted some interesting mid-cap ideas: Nykaa, Prestige Estates, Phoenix Mills, Ipca Labs, etc. Just wanted to know how you're reading into this underperformance, Sanjiv, of the broader end of the market. Would there be some specific, I know you always have a can of ideas to share with us, but if you had to nail it down to say the top 5 mid-caps that would maybe remain unscathed even in times of volatility run up to the election, what would they be?
So, Aman, I think firstly, we've had enough of a correction or enough of a short-term consolidation. And purely in that consolidation, the index has still withstood its ground, which is evident that the money which was seeing froth on the mid caps has now shifted there. We are very, very bullish on the PSU pack, particularly the power lenders. We've had a buy on REC PFC from, I think, when they've turned 3-4 times from here. REC PFC continue to be in a very sweet spot. 1 lakh crore now being spent on solar panels, in solar energy, in wind energy, you name the business, REC PFC are gaining traction. There is the best recovery from state electricity boards. So those are 2 of the top names. IOC will stand out. Crude has started to correct. IOC distillates and margins and refining margins will be at the highest ever in the history. Already the last quarterly results were a standout. IOC would be the 3rd name over there. Ashok Leland is another name which we are very positive. RBL Bank, where Mahindras have taken a stake, it is not a 4% just as a passive investor. They are the largest shareholders. RBL Bank's NIMs and net interest margins are going to be very, very strong. And lastly, I think Ramco Cement is a stock which everyone must own in their portfolio. 2.3 times price to book, trading at at the lowest enterprise value to EBITDA. And prices in South are now headed on the northwards. I think at closer to 800, this stock is a very must have in your portfolio. So this is a summary of some of the mid caps. And if you can add one Federal Bank, I think Federal Bank from here can be an outperformer. It can even hit new highs, given that the liability franchise is doing extremely well and they've garnered more share in the gold loan.
Right. Naresh.
Sanjiv, good to have you on board. Good. Thanks for joining in.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.